Hey, I'm Sarah, and first of all let me introduce you to the reason for this video. Look at my shiny new oven, and I've got a new hob top as well. Yes, my old oven gave up the ghost. We've been keeping it artificially alive, doing minor repairs on it for the last few years. We thought, no, we're going to stop throwing money at this oven and we're actually just going to buy a new one. As I have mentioned in videos before, I always have savings for this type of thing. Just in case something crops up, it's always good to have money aside for emergencies. Now comes the problem. I now don't have savings. I swindled the best deal I could. I actually got a new phone out of the deal, plus a few $100s off. Always negotiate. Always. Be ruthless. So I need to replenish our savings because I know we've got other things coming up. It breaks my heart to say that I also need a new vacuum. However, I'm just making do with our current vacuum for now. I know that that's coming up. I know my husband's got tools that kind of need replacing. They're not cheap. So I desperately need to get money back into my savings. Hence, this is going to be a very stingy couple of weeks when it comes to food. We've got school holidays coming up next week as well, which of course will not make life easier because kids tend to eat twice as much when they're at home as when they're at school. Don't ask me why that is, it just happens. So I thought this could be an opportunity just to show you, hey, how do I navigate it when I've really got little to no money to spend and I need to feed the troops. So the first thing, I was actually just writing some stuff down. I've done a bit of freezer diving. I'm going to basically write down what I absolutely have to buy at the shop tomorrow. It's Thursday at the moment. I'm going to do my shop tomorrow, so I still need to make dinner for tonight out of whatever we've got and school lunch boxes for tomorrow. Then we're into holiday mode. So on my freezer diving mission, I actually found I had a lot of scrappy end bits of sausages, some of which are sort of funny misshapen sausage bits that I got from the Hellas factory store a while back, but I've also got a few packets of either a mixture of like proper sausages, pre-cooked sausages, cheesy sausages that have only got like 2 or 3 sausages in the bottom of the packet. 2, maybe 3 dinners worth that I could make out of them if I stretch them out, if I make things like a sausage curry where they're all chopped up in it, or last week I did a video on a sausage bake. I'm thinking I might start off, I might do a ragu. I'm just going to take notes while I'm talking, while I'm thinking. I'm going to utilise the canned tomatoes I've got in there, but I will need more canned tomatoes for the ragu. I'll try and save some of them also for next week, so I'm trying to sort of space out what I've got. I've also got some bacon in the freezer. Now our chickens have just started laying eggs again, yay! So having said that, we're getting about 3 a day. Of course, I've got 3 kids. They're all pretty keen on having eggs for breakfast. So I might actually just supplement and I might buy some eggs just to make like a bacon and egg pie one night. And I've got a couple of tins of baked beans in the pantry, so I'll do them with the bacon and egg pie, along with some veggies. I will get some frozen veggies. I will need that. I do have exactly 6 cans of tomatoes, crushed tomatoes and juice. I'm going to make some tomato soup for our dinner tonight. So I've got most of a loaf of bread that actually needs using. It's starting to only be good for toast. Just yesterday I made a batch of Greek yogurt with a little bit that I had left over. I make it in the slow cooker, just need milk. So yeah, I like dolloping some Greek yogurt in my tomato soup as well. Bit of protein, bit of yummy. I do have some chicken in the freezer that I will use, and I'll do it crumbed. If you've got some chicken but it doesn't look like a lot or enough to feed your family, I can highly recommend cutting it into bits and crumbing it. It does make it more substantial. So it's a little trick there, and I've got quite a lot of potatoes at the moment, which is a bonus. So I'll do some crumbed chicken and chippies. When I'm doing my crumb coating, I just grate like an end of my bread, because it's not often you use the crust bits of the bread, especially homemade bread. Maybe when they're like really fresh, you might just take it out of the oven and butter it and yum. So French onion soup, that is something the rest of us love, and it is great because onions are fairly cheap. So I will need to get some more onions. I'll check how I am for beef stock. Yay, I have beef stock already, so I don't need to buy that either. That's a bonus. I've got salt and pepper. I do need to buy cheese. I like making cheesy croûtes with my French onion soup. That will be a hard thing to keep track of over the holidays, cheese. I do have at least one cheese monster in this house that's normally off at school during the week. Tuesday, whenever I'm thinking of cheap dinners, Dahl always springs to mind, because Dahl is amazingly cheap. It's got so much good stuff in it as well. It's really good for any kind of leftover veggies and stuff you've got. It's got lots of lentils. I'm also, by popular demand, because I did a week or so ago, I made a big pot of veggie soup. We had the fire going all day and I just cooked this veggie soup. I used the pre-mix, the things that have got the lentils and split peas and barley and stuff in it. So, and I think the kids will actually like having, because that makes a huge batch too, the kids will like having that for lunches and that sort of thing, or at least one will. I know one went absolutely gaga over it. So, that will be good. I will get one of those packets. Thinking of Dahl, I do need more lentils. I might grab some more garlic, and fruit and veggies, I'll just judge what's on special when I get there. I do actually have some mince in the freezer as well, but I might try and save that for next week. So I'm really trying to space out my meaty proteins, and about every second night at least I'm replacing it with something like yogurt, eggs, lentils, you know, going for a different type of protein other than just meat. Of course, because kids are home, I've kind of got to think of lunches. Often during the holidays, our lunches are very much kind of grab your own. So I just need to make sure we've always got some bread. We've got some ham in the freezer that I will defrost. Might buy some more, I'll see if it's on special or not. But I've actually got a can of mackerel in there, but also Bunch Club. Those of us lucky enough to be members of Woolworths Bunch Club, you do get free products. And I've actually, a few weeks, I just haven't got around to going into Woolworths to collect mine. So I know I've got a few things. I know that I have a can of tuna. I know I've got a bag of lollies. That'll come in handy for school holiday movie night. I will get some popcorn while I'm thinking about that. You know, the kernels, pop them yourself. That will be really, you know, super cheap. If there's a rainy day and we're just watching movies or something, that'll be great for that. I might, because I do have some short grain rice in the pantry, I might look at making some sushi as something different for lunches and that sort of thing. So I will need some seaweed, you know, the squares, the nori sheets. So that is not a big shopping list, but I'm fortunate in that I already have some stuff. I'll make some crumpets to keep people happy for breakfasts. I also need to think about baking. I definitely need flour, and I need baking powder. Now I do need to get a bottle of juice to send away on my daughter's camp with her, and I also need to send her away with some baking. So I know that I've got some raisins in there, so I might make some war cake, some Canadian war cake. It's like a fruit cake. It is really, really easy to make. It's nice and simple, so I'll do that. Got some lemons that somebody actually gave us. So I did make some lemon drizzle cake last night, which will be going into lunch boxes again for tomorrow. But I'll make some more lemon drizzle cake at the moment. We'll be needing some more table spread. Good old cheap table spread, not butter this week. But yeah, that's probably, I probably will think up the odd extra thing that I do need. When it comes to things like soap, I actually just use a bar of soap. I grate it up and I put it in a dish like this. I boil the jug. I fill this up with 2 litres of boiling water, and this is rather solid at the moment, but I waise it all up and I pour it into our soap dispensers. So, you know, I know some people aren't big on that, but it saves money. It is super duper cheap to do that. You know, especially if you are having a penny pinching week. So saves on buying some expensive liquid soap. That'll do us for a while. Do need some muesli. I usually that's something I keep meaning to have another go at. I did have a go at making my own muesli once, and I can't remember why I failed, but I remember I did fail. I must have another go at that. But this week I'll just buy muesli. We've got a lot of rolled oats in there, which is good. With my husband's breakfasts, he usually takes breakfast in a pot to go for his workday lunches. He has overnight oats. So the night before I actually just prep him. I mix up some muesli with some extra rolled oats just to make it cheap. Fill it up with milk, and in the morning it's all nicely soaked in and everything, and he really likes it, and so he usually just takes that off to work with him, and it pretty much does him for most of the day. It's not often he actually feels the need to eat anything else, but you know, we've always got other snacks and stuff that he takes with him. That's the thing, you got one of these weeks where, you know, can't spend anything. Really have a look at what you have got, what you can make with what you've got, and how cheaply can you spread it all out, and then what ingredients might you have to make things with. So yeah, I'm gonna have to make sure I've got plenty of flour, because I will be baking and making stuff big time this week. I do need to buy more chook pellets. I'd better put that on the list. Better pay them for laying the eggs. First thing I'm actually going to do, because I know I'm making soup for dinner, is make another loaf of bread. I've got sort of most of a loaf of bread. That'll go really easy though, you know, when there's 5 of us all chopping a couple of slices of bread for toast. That will go real quick. So I'll make another loaf of bread, especially for sandwiches for tomorrow. School holidays, of course, we're not going to be doing a lot of expensive activities. We're not going to be going off ice skating or going to shows or anything like that. We will definitely make use of free things like the library. My kids are all pretty big on reading, which is a good thing. So we'll just be having at-home movie nights, going to the library. It is spring, so you know, the great outdoors is a great thing. I did do a video a while back on cheap or very free activities to do over the school holidays. A lot of it was focused on slightly younger kids, because it was a few years ago. My kids were slightly younger, but absolutely have a watch of that. I will link it down below. Okay, so I am back with my receipts from the cheapest shop I could muster. So I got a dozen eggs from the warehouse. They were $6.50. I did something I very rarely do. I went into the warehouse, made a beeline for the eggs, bought them and left. Normally I am prone to wandering around the warehouse, maybe finding something I didn't know I needed, but I've clearly always wanted it, you know. So yes, that was my warehouse buy. Then I went to Woolworths, because as I said, I had some freebies from the Bunch Club to pick up. Turned out I had 4 things. It had been a few weeks since I'd last collected my Bunch Club freebies. But anyway, I did buy some Sushi nori sheets. I got some fruit and veggies from Odd Bunch, which are always worthwhile. Some mandarins, carrots, apples, and they had avocados on special, $4 for 5 avos, so that wasn't bad. The kids will be into those. My freebies, I got a can of crushed pineapple, so I might make some pineapple loaf with that. I've got a can of yellowfin tuna, that'll be good for the sushi. Can of baked beans, party mix lollies. Yay, movie night. So those are my freebies. And I got my cheese from Woolworths because it was a couple of dollars cheaper this week than it was at Pack and Save. So Woolworths, I spent $36.23. Pack and Save, bought just about the entire flour aisle. No, I got a few bags of flour, 1 bag of self-raising, just because I need that for my my pineapple loaf recipe. Got some cocoa powder because I often make like chocolate Weetbix slice. It's a nice easy baking thing, and I was out of cocoa powder. I got a couple more cans of beans because I thought holidays, the kids might want to make toasties for lunch one day. Some coconut milk to go with the Dahl. My husband's favourite muesli, the Pan's Nuts and Seeds. Got some yeast. Got juice for my daughter to take on camp. I'll put that back here so the kids don't think it's theirs to drink. Couple of tubs of Marge. Here. Got a couple of bags of frozen mixed veggie. Don't like to run out of them. They come in so handy. Some crushed garlic. Got some lentils for the Dahl, and also some of the dried soup mix for when I do the veggie soup at some point. Stocked up on tomatoes because I exhausted our supply making the tomato soup last night. Got some canned brown lentils as well. Got a few spices that I'm out of, paprika and cinnamon. Some of my regulars, baking powder which I was out of. And I did buy something I'm not planning on using this week, being chicken drumsticks. But they were on special and I thought they'll be good for my stingy shop next week. It gives me some protein to already have on hand, seeing as I'm not really buying any other sort of main protein items this week. The kids were out of hot chocolate. This stuff's pretty good, the Pan's multi-choc. It tastes like what Milo used to be like, you know. Milk, I used powdered milk. I didn't need blue, but I needed some green. Cucumber. They had broccoli heads for 99 cents each, so I grabbed a couple of broccoli. Onions I use onions for most things, to be fair. Most of my dinners start with chopping an onion, and they had capsicum on special, so bought one of them. That's always good in the Dahl and maybe in the ragu as well. So my total from Pack and Save. Oh, and I also bought a bag of chook pellets. That's currently outside. I'm about to go down and feed them. $127.33. Let's see what I make with all this. I gotta put away first. I'll go get the kids from school. I'll bribe them to put this away. Okay, so as I said, bacon and egg pie is happening for dinner tonight. Just pre-cooked some of the bacon. I'm gonna make my own pastry, and I like to put some green leafy stuff in there as well. I actually just went out foraging and came back with a handful of some tops of some spring onions and some starflower leaves. I haven't got much going on in the veggie patch at the moment, but that's what I foraged, so that's what I'm going to use. Bit of carnage at the moment, been working outside most of the day. Tragedy has struck us. One of my cameras is broken. I was filming a veggie patch update outside and I didn't realise quite how strong the wind was. It blew the camera and it's done something to the lens, and now the lens isn't opening or closing. So I'm going to have to send my other camera in for repair. So The rest of this video will be done via one camera, so I'll just have to keep changing the angles, you know. First world problems, tell ya. But I'm not buying a new camera, those things are expensive, so yeah, I'm sending it off to get repaired. French onion soup, oh my goodness, yes, we love French onion soup here, it's so nice. The fact that I make my own wine comes in handy, because if I make a batch that I'm not that keen on, often it is really, really nice in cooking. I made a batch of elderberry wine that just sucked. It wasn't nice. But yeah, in French onion soup, it is beautiful. So, yep, I'm gonna get on with that. Use the loaf of bread I just made to make some lovely cheesy croûtes. So, and yeah, aside from some salt and pepper, bit of wine, onions are obviously the main ingredient along with beef stock, so if you make your own beef stock, boom. I just use OXO cubes, they're fine. And yeah, onions are cheap enough, so this actually works out to be a really cheap dinner, so yay.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, so plan for tonight, I've got those sort of random bits of sausage, probably enough to do a couple of dinners worth at least, so I'm just going to put some of those into a pan. I found, I was going to do a ragu tonight, but then I found a margarine tub of pumpkin soup that I'm not sure how long it's been in the freezer, but it needs the using up. So instead of that, I'm going to do curried sausages. I'm going to use that as a sauce base, chop up some onion, chop up some leafy greens if I can scavenge some more from the garden somewhere. This is one of those whatever random veggies you've got left over you can use. I posed an interesting question to Clint last night, and that's how many dinners can he name that I make that don't start with me chopping an onion? And he struggled. And it's something I've only just realised, boy do I go through onions. I mean, is this like an addiction? I must go around smelling of onion. It's made, I've probably got constant onion breath. I do brush my teeth on it. But seriously, onion, what is it with me and onions? I don't know, and it's something I've only just come to realise. I've clearly got an onion obsession. I mean, there are worse things in this world. There is much worse midlife crisis I could be going through than onion obsessions, but that's you know, bangers and mash. If I'm doing sausages and mashed potato, veggies on the side, there's no onions in that. Okay, there we go, found one. Sorry, one of my random musings. Okay, first Monday morning of school holidays. 2 out of 3 kids are still in bed. That's fine, whatever. What I'm going to do is, I've got some rice left over from dinner last night. I often, when I'm doing something ricey, I make a little bit too much on purpose, because rice pudding with leftover rice is just so handy and easy to make, and it can be like pudding after lunch today, so that's all cool. So I'm going to do that and make rice pudding with the leftover rice, and I'm also going to make a batch of crumpets, just to make breakfasts easy and to have a bit of a break from the non-stop bread making, which I do need to make another loaf of bread today. Of course you do. It's a never-ending thing. This is why it's so much cheaper for me. A lot of people say, oh, it's not that much more expensive to buy a loaf of bread, but when you can make it for $1 or a bit less than $1, depending on prices on that particular week, and you go through, we can go through a loaf a day, we're quite capable, so you know, it adds up. That's the plan for today. I think that's all I'm going to make today. I'm not sure, I might make some Weetbix slice at some point, but the plan for dinner tonight, I'm explaining all this to you now because I only have one camera, so I can't sort of, you know, film and chat at the same time. Plan for dinner tonight, I'm going to make a big pot of veggie soup. That is like super duper yummy. Just using some of this soup mix. What's it got in it? Pearl barley, split peas, yellow and green and red lentils. I just chuck the whole lot of that in. And then I literally throw in whatever I've got. I go into my spices box, paprika, cumin, mixed herbs, whatever, tin of tomatoes, whatever veggies I've got, fill it up with water. I do just enough water to cover it, and then I keep adding liquid as it cooks, because of course all those lentils and barley and everything, they all expand and they absorb it. So, you know, some veggie stock, and it's super cheap, needless to say, veggie soup. So I'll make the crumpets, might take the kids for an outing. I'll go for an outing to the post shop and get my camera sorted. Typical the week I'm trying to save money, I need to get my camera repaired. Fingers crossed that won't be too expensive. I'm going to take the kids to the library, cheap outing, stock up on books for the holidays. Might get them mowing the lawns too, so there we go. Okay, so as you'll have seen, yesterday I did the crumbed chicken and chippies for dinner. Tonight I'm probably going to do Dahl. I'm trying to think what I recorded. It's hard when I'm only operating on one camera. Normally I record me chatting and doing stuff at the same time, so you know, I'm having to coordinate a bit now. But so I made that Weetbix slice. That's lasted us for a couple of days. We've got a couple of pieces left. I'm about to make some sushi. I've had some rice cooking and that's just cooling down. So I'm going to make some sushi for our lunch today. Yummy. Because I've only got a couple of bits of that Weetbix slice left, I'm going to do some more baking. I was going to do some lemon drizzle cake, but I might do that another day just because I'm time poor at the moment. I'm probably just going to use that can of pineapple that I got from Bunch Club, and I'm going to make some really easy pineapple loaf. Seriously, 3 ingredients: flour, sugar, and that can of pineapple, and that's it. It is super easy. I'll get on with that, make some sushi, gonna do some Dahl for dinner, and this afternoon I'll then have to suss out my shopping list for tomorrow because I'm taking the troops in and doing the shopping for the next week tomorrow. So let's see how cheap I can make that. that was me trying to have a stingy week. However, my last shop actually still came to more than what I ideally wanted on a stingy week, but you know, you get that, it ebbs and flows depending on what you need to buy. This week, however, was quite a bit cheaper. So my plan for this week is I'm going to do that ragu or something similar with those sausage bits that I've got. I've got some mince in the freezer. I'm going to utilise that and do spaghetti and meatballs one night. Always goes down well here because I've got some spaghetti pasta already in the pantry. I'm going to use those marinated chicken drumsticks that I bought last week and just do some chicken and chips type thing for dinner again. I've got a bit more bacon that I'm going to use to sort of flavour a smoky baked beans type thing. I've got some cans of cannellini beans to make that with. I kind of refer to that as mum's beans or cowboy casserole, some people call it. I picked up some leeks. They were on special, so I'm going to do potato and leek soup one night. That is super yummy, super cheap. So I'm also going to do some homemade pizzas one night. And I also got a thing of 2-minute noodles because, you know, that's always good fun for the kids to have them every now and then as a bit of a treaty. I'll make, as far as baking, you know, I'll make my usual 10,000 loaves of bread. Do some wraps or something, do something a bit different. They can have the noodles one day for lunch maybe. I'm going to make that lemon drizzle cake that I threatened to make last week and I never quite got around to. But anyway, for this week's shop, got the 2-minute noodles, I've got a big thing of white vinegar. I often use that for cleaning. For like bathroom cleaning spray, I mix 50-50 white vinegar and water and just put a little dollop of washing up or dishwashing liquid in there. So works really well. Got some cooking oil. Got some leeks to make the potato and leek soup with. Got the usual few bags of flour. Got some more milk powder. Got some sugar, because I was nearly out of sugar. Some tomato paste, I use them with the sauce to make my meatballs. And some more cans of chopped tomatoes. A couple of cans of cannellini beans, I use them for my my smoky baked bean cowboy casserole mixture. Some barbecue sauce because one of the kids is a big fan and we were nearly out, or we were out. Muesli. A couple of cups of table spread. Got the cheese from Pack and Save this week. Coffee, essential. Cucumber. Still got plenty of carrots and stuff left from last week. I did actually get calamari rings. The kids love these. I haven't necessarily planned on them for this week, but as per last week, I like to buy at least one sort of proteiny thing to carry forward. And some more onions, because, you know, me and onions. I went to Woolworths. I hit up Bunch Club stuff for my fruit and things, so got some mandarins, some pears, and some apples. And Bunch Club freebie, I got another can of tuna and spring water instead of oil this time, so I'm guessing they want some kind of comparison. So, pretty cheap shop this week. $97.14 from Pack and Save. I did not buy eggs because our chickens are doing pretty good. And from Woolworths, it would have been $17.93. However, I found with my Bunch Club, my Woolworths one card thing, I actually had a $15 discount because I'd accrued enough points and I had $15 off. So that ended up being $2.93, which brought the total shop this week to $100.07. That's better. So there we go. I won't carry on filming for the next week. You get the gist of what I do. I make things with what I've got. We had lunch at my parents' place today, so that saved us a bit too. Thanks, Mum and Dad. I'm just hoping this was of some inspiration. It was it wasn't really a planned video as such. It was just, I've been trying to save money anyway, so I thought I'd just let you guys in on the wee journey. So there we go. Hit the like button down below, hit subscribe if you haven't already. And have fun out there. We'll see you next week. Bye.